Okay, on number 1, Priya says, I bet if the alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines will have to be parallel. And Han says, really, we know if our lines are parallel. So if our lines are parallel, then our alternate interior angles, so this angle and this angle, or this angle and that angle, we know that those two pairs, the circles or the X's, would have to be congruent. And he says, I didn't know it worked the other way. Well, she thinks so. Angle ABC and BCJ are both 40 degrees. And so they drew that there. And then she drew a line perpendicular that went through point B, and you get this triangle XBC, or however you want to call it, CBX. So it says angle CBX would be 50. And they're telling you to label that, which you did. So CBX is 50. We know that because this is a right angle here. And then since the angles of a triangle add up to 180, we know this is a right angle, so it has to be 90. And this is 50. This is 40. This would be 50. No, it says, okay, because we know 40 and 50, 90 is 180. Another 90 would give you 180. So it has to be a right angle there. So then it says, oh, wait, that means that AI and GJ are perpendicular because they're both at 90-degree angles. They're both perpendicular, so they have to be parallel. So they said label it based on what they gave you. Is there something special about the 40 degrees? What they're meaning, if I change this to 30 degrees, this angle would be 30. This angle would become 30 degrees, which means, well, you wrote that, not me. This is still a right angle. So if this is 30, this part here would have to be 60 because I have to add up to 90. Well, 30 plus 60 is still 90. So it doesn't matter. Whatever this angle is, it's still going to force it to be the same thing. So, no, there's nothing special about the 40 degrees. Any two lines that are cut by a transversal with congruent alternate interior angles have to be parallel. That's a statement that if you know that the alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines have to be parallel. Or if you know your lines are parallel, then the alternate interior alternate interior angles have to be congruent. You can't have one and not the other. On this one, it says prove AI and GJ are parallel. So this is the figure that we just had. I can't tell if that's like an A. It doesn't look like a 0. So I'm going to go with that that's angle A, or like A degrees. And it tells you that this one here and that one are both A degrees. And you labeled this angle EBI, which is fine. I mean, whatever. And then BCX, and you said they are congruent, or they are equal. Yes, that is true. What kind of angles are they? They are corresponding angles, and so the lines are parallel, but the reason that you would not get this correct, you only gave part of the information. These angles, angle EBI and angle BCX, are corresponding angles, and angle EBI equals angle BCX. Because they are corresponding and equal or congruent, then that means that the lines are parallel. When I was teaching geometry, we had a bunch of postulates and theorems, and we would have to refer to it. And I told my students, if you don't remember, just say that there is a postulate or theorem. It's basically like a rule. I don't know if y'all have talked about those or not. There's a postulate or theorem that states that are corresponding angles for parallel lines are congruent. Therefore, lines AI and GJ must be parallel. So there's some law, it's not really a law, but there's some rule in the geometry curriculum, and I don't know how y'all's book refers to them, but it's probably a postulate, it may be a theorem, and it's not as important that you know the name of it or anything, but you know that there is a postulate or theorem that states that they have to be parallel because the corresponding angles are congruent. So hopefully that helps on that one. You got this one right. These are vertical, and then just as a aside, these would be 130 because they're also congruent, they're vertical, and these two angles are linear pair. They add up to 180. So if you weren't 100% sure on that, I know it didn't ask that, but number 4 looks like you understood. Number 5, identify a figure that's not the image. Let me pause, hold on. I think you're on the right track with this one. I would say HGEC because it is similar, not congruent. Or you could pick a different quadrilateral. Well, it's hard to tell which of these lines might be straight. But I would just say similar instead of bigger, or say because it's not congruent. I know y'all talked about those terms earlier. So number 6 looks like you've got. Number 7 looks like you've got. Okay, on this one, I'm going to kind of draw it. There's the center. It's not a great drawing, but it's kind of like a ceiling fan. Oh, goodness gracious. And if you turn it, I'm going to label this left and this right. If you turn it, notice that it does line back up on itself. 1 time, and then 2 times, and then 3 times. 3 times. So 360 degrees is 1 complete circle, and you rotated it 3 times. So if you divide those, that gives you your angle of rotation, 120 degrees. So you just take however many times it mapped, like it hit itself, that it looked the same. So it's a ceiling fan, that's what I'm going to say it is. And then it was the ceiling fan again, and then again, and then the 3rd time. And so that's where the 3 came from. Just how many times did it go back to how it looked initially before it got to where it was. Okay, and then number 9. On this one, let me go back. It had 1, 2, 3 petals, which is another way you could get to that 3. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 petals. So you're going to take 360 and divide it by 8. And that will get you 45 degrees. But that is just to take the figure and move this petal to that petal. You're going to do 45 degrees. To move this petal over to here, like to rotate it a little bit more, you're going to add 45. So you're going to go from 45, add 45 to 90 degrees. So 45, 90. Add another 45, and that's going to put you at 135. Add another 45, and that's going to put you at the 180. So you have those right. But that's how many there are. And there are others. It didn't list any more, but the others, if you added 45 again, would be 225, and then 270, and then 315, and then 360. So if you were trying to find all of them, that's what they would be. It just didn't give them all in the answer choices to you. So hopefully that helps a little bit with those.